What's happening, sports fans? How you doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy. Good day to you. And Dallas Mavericks star Kyrie Irving had time on Saturday. He has a lot to say to former NBA players that's in the media. We're going to talk about that in this segment. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that follow button, and subscribe to the channels. That is TFG Sports Media, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube if you have not already done so. Well, you all know Mavs star point guard Kyrie Irving is out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL that happened back on March 3rd. Well, on this past Saturday, he was live on Twitch, and he had a lot to talk about. He was responding to fans' questions, but then he went off on his rant on former NBA players that's now in the media, talking a lot of ish about the current players as well as the state of the game. You like to hear it? Well, here it go. And this is just a snippet of what he had to say. Check it out.
And I'm talking to some of the former players too. They have lost their way. I will say their names when I address them, when I see them in person, but there are some former players that just be talking chat on, like, you don't even be talking about anything. All you do is hate on the younger players. And then you got young players looking up to these older players, and we see them as, I'm not gonna call them my idol, but we looked up to them, right? We valued their journeys. We respected their journeys. We wanted to get close to them. And then when you see somebody that you respect like that and admire go on TV and talk about your journey as if it's just some, oh yeah, this just happens to you all the time, just get over it because you make a bunch of money. I'm so sick of that bro, that you're not allowed to feel because you make a lot of money in the NBA and you get paid. And oh my gosh, like people on Twitter or on social media crucifying people that are making millions of dollars and they're not playing in games because they're injured, or they're not the same player that they were last year because they're injured. Y'all don't know.
Again, that was Kyrie Irving live on Twitch this past Saturday, basically saying the former NBA players that's now in the media have lost their way, and he's going to call them out by name when they see them. I wish he would have called them out during this segment, but he didn't. But we all know who he was talking about. He was talking about Hall of Famer Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal, and some others, probably Kendrick Perkins from ESPN as well, which Kendrick Perkins really isn't that critical of a lot of these players because he played with a lot of them. So he's not as critical as I think that Chuck and Shaq is. My thoughts on this whole thing, I see both sides, to be perfectly honest with you. I get it. Current players now may feel some type of way with who they call the old heads. That's what they call us. Talking critical about their games and their product and about they should just be happy with all the money they making. Well, there's some truth to some of that, in my opinion. I think these new generations, especially NBA players, I'm only talking about the NBA because these are the only players that really is always into it with the media. I think the product that they put out on the floor, 90% of the time, well, I say 80% of the time, it is hard to watch. 80% of the time. And by the way, Kyrie Irving is one of my favorite players to watch, along with Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant. Those are my three favorites to watch this current crop. But I get it. They get in their feelings. And again, I think these new athletes, they very sensitive about criticism. So I can kind of see them saying that, man, instead of always bashing us, why don't you lift us up? I get that. But on the flip side, I see it from the old heads. I see it from their way too. They the ones that built this game. They built it up. And then you got the new generation players that ish on them, talking about they ain't play against nobody. JJ Redick basically called Bob Cousy, that era, plumbers and firemen, disrespecting the game that they built to allow them to play, and as well as disrespecting the eras. We've seen a lot of these new players disrespect the 90s, saying it was slow ball, there was no athletes, and we all know that was not true. So I see both sides. I think both the new generation of the NBA, they have their points, but I also think that the players that's now NBA analysts, they have their points too. Now, I think when you start taking personal shots, that's going too far. Now, if you critical of someone's game, I get it. Now, Shaq had that Shaq and the Fool segment, which I found funny most of the time. But I could see, JaVale McGee was getting poked at like 95% of the time. I think after a while that does get stale. That's why I don't think Shaq does that segment anymore. But I think a lot of these guys, they go the new media, as they call themselves, Draymond Green, they got all these podcasts. To me, they should be more worried about improving their game and the product that they're giving the fans and their load management and trying to stay healthy rather than what a former NBA player has to say in the media. I just don't get it. But I'd like to know your thoughts. And oh, by the way, I'm waiting to hear from a response from Shaq and Chuck. I'm sure they will respond on Inside the NBA on Tuesday because they hadn't responded yet. So I'd like to know your thoughts on Kyrie Irving. Does he have a point? Does the old generation kind of ish on the new generation too much? And is the new generation, as far as NBA players, are they a little bit too sensitive? Talk to me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Kendrick, the Sports Guy. We will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.